The Boolean modifier lets you combine objects together in three different ways to give you three different effects. I think the most common way is to cut one object from another. So for example, this object here has had a rectangular cube chopped from its face there. I believe I used the Boolean modifier for this guy and chopped that shape from the bottom rather than modeling it with the knife tool or subdividing and loop cutting and that kind of thing. The Boolean modifier can do that for us quite quickly. So let's have a look at the three ways we can combine objects with the Boolean modifier. We'll look at that difference option first. I think that's the most common one. So say we wanted to chop out a cone shape from the center of this cube. Let's rotate it the other way. Let's do Rx minus 90. Drag it down here on the y-axis and say we wanted to remove that shape from cut that shape out of this cube here. So select our cube, add modifier, Boolean, use the little eyedropper to select that cone. This is the object we're using, we are combining with the original cube. And then using the difference setting, it will calculate the difference between the two. It will subtract the cone from the cube. And if we hide it with H, we'll see that it has done just that. Okay. If you wanted to do this destructively in a permanent way, I'll just Alt-H to bring back that cone there. We can apply the modifier. You don't really need to. I mean, I do usually, to be honest. I don't think you really need to, though. But I'll show you if we apply that and then we delete the cone, then we've got that permanent change. So edit mode, you can see that we now have these faces inside the cube. Whereas if we didn't need to apply it, let's come back. Where's that? If we didn't need to apply it, we could just hide this and come back and change its position later on should we need to. We could also change the way that this cone displays, right enough. If I can remember how to get into that in 2.8. Oh, come on. Viewport display as wireframe or as bounds. No, wireframe. Yeah. So displaying as wireframe, that lets us kind of see the effect a little bit more clearly. And so later on, we can come back and say we want to move that position. Then we can do that, or we could just H and hide it. Okay, so that's a pretty nice use of the difference setting in the Boolean modifier. We'll just do that very quickly one more time. Let's say we wanted to cut a hole straight through that cube. Let's add in a quick Shift A. Let's add in a quick cylinder. It's our Y90, scale it down, and stretch it out on the X. Let's do that one more time. And we will back to the wrench tab, add another modifier. So we can add multiple Boolean modifiers to the same object. So add Boolean. Use the eyedropper and pick the object we want to combine. And we've got that difference setting already there. So we can select our cylinder and hide it. And we've got that hole cut right through our cube there. Okay, so all sorts of different ways we can combine objects using that difference setting. Alt-H just to bring it back. So if we wanted to make the permanent change, remember, we can just apply those Booleans and then delete those objects out. If you're fairly confident that that's not going to change, you can apply those modifiers. So lots of good ways that you can gouge out shapes from an existing shape. So let's have a look very quickly at the other ways we can use that Boolean modifier. Don't want to take too long. So let's add in a cone again. Okay, so let's add the Boolean to the cube. Let's select the cone. And let's use union. So we've got difference, union, and intersect. So union will unite those objects together. This reminds me of the Pathfinder tool in Illustrator. It's the same sort of idea. I don't know how familiar you guys will be with vector art and Illustrator, but what this does is it unites these objects together, it fuses them, it stitches them together where they meet there. So usually, I think the best way to see this happening is just to apply that modifier there. And then if we go into edit mode, hang on. We'll apply the modifier, and for some reason it does give us a duplicate in case we want to use that again. So I'm just going to delete that and then go into edit mode. And there you go. You can see that those objects have been stitched together at that base edge there where they meet. So if we have a look at the wireframe, you can see that that bottom half of the cone is gone and they've been stitched together. So there's lots of uses for that, I'm sure. Okay, so that is the unite or union option. The other one to look at would be intersect. Okay, so let's choose the intersect option and select our cone. And so what this does, it looks at the areas where the two objects are overlapping, and it will leave you with that overlapping object. So I think we can do this by hiding the cone. If we select the cone and select H, you can see that we're left with the area that where the cube and the cone overlapped. If we switch on the modifier to bring it back and unhide the cone, and we look at the wireframe version, it's that area where the cube and the cone are overlapping that we're left with if we use that intersect option. I can't say I've ever used that, so that might be a challenge to utilize. Utilize that in your environment drafts this weekend. Can you use the intersect option to create some interesting assets? Let's just have a look at it again. Sorry. Intersect, apply, and we're left with this. Okay, so please play about with the difference setting, the union setting, and the intersect setting with the Boolean modifier. And I'd like to see some of that combined with beveling to give me some good results next week. I hope that was helpful.